In this video, I got 3 principles to help you hold yourself accountable and then use it to your power. So we about to dive right into it. Okay, before we dive into the first principle, I want you to understand that regardless to what you have going on, the greatest common denominator is you. I want you to let that sink in for a second. The people that you're friends with, the place that you work at, the neighborhood you live in, your experiences in life, what do they all have in common? All right, the greatest common denominator is you. Okay, so it's your fault. Please understand that. It is your fault. There are times and situations where it's beyond your control, right? So people have been abused mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, socially, emotionally. I understand that, right? So I'm not downing people that have been taken advantage of, right? Those are things that we cannot control. But it's your fault if you stay stuck in that. If you don't get help, if you don't fix yourself, if you don't get better, if you don't overcome. All right, so regardless, it all ties together. It's your fault. Okay, so anytime you're a part of the problem, I want you to understand that you're a part of the solution too. The first principle is stop blaming. Like, stop playing the blame game, okay? When you see there's an issue and the first thing you do is blame somebody else, it's easy to not take the full responsibility. You might be like, all right, well, it wasn't my fault. Okay, but you still being stuck in that situation and going back and forth is helping who? It's not helping nobody. And in the last episode, what I told you about being stuck in that energy, you have the control over what comes out your mouth. So regardless if it's not your fault, you still in that energy, in that state of mind where you're like, oh, it's that person's fault. It's that person's fault. Even if it wasn't your fault, you're not stepping away from it or you're not trying to look for a solution, then what are you doing? You're wasting time, okay? So just take full responsibility. And I'm not telling you that it feels good. Sometimes it sucks, right? But then you got the people that beat you to and be like, you know what, I'm going to be the bigger man and I'm going to be the bigger woman and, right? So it makes the other person feel like crap when they hear it like that. But regardless, okay, that's the first step. That's the first principle. The second principle, stop running. You're back at square one because you didn't stick through that last time or the time before that or the time before that. You were supposed to be what you said you wanted to be back in high school, back when you was a little kid, when you was a child. You were like, I want to be a firefighter when I grow up. I want to be a scientist when I grow up. I want to be a doctor when I grow up. So why are you a janitor cleaning other people's toilets? If it's not a stepping stone to make the cash to get to where your investments are, why are you just doing that for the hell of it? Huh? Because you didn't stick it through. You ran away. It got too hard, right? But on the journey to being a more successful version of the person that you are right now, you have to go through the process. Nobody said the process was going to be easy, right? So as soon as you stop running and as soon as you start facing those things head on, the sooner you can get over to the other side. Because at the end of the day, if you don't propel through it, if you don't get through the pain, if you don't try and keep going and push through and figure it out, how are you going to know how it turns out? You can brag and tell people all you want. Oh yeah, I had a business, but that business stuff ain't for me. So how are you out here giving advice about business? Right? Oh man, I tried football, but I wasn't fast enough. It was too much. Here we go with the excuses, right? You got too much going on. You don't got enough time for this. You was out with your boys. You was partying. You was on the phone. You was watching TV. You was sleeping too long. You was doing all this stuff, right? So while you're doing all this stuff, other people are surpassing you because they're sticking it through. They didn't run. They saw an opportunity. You know what? I'm going to be a bull today, and I'm going to dive right in with my horns first. And whoever's in the way, hey, I warned you. Right? All right. So stop running. Because regardless to that being a problem, that's perceptual. Do you understand that? Regardless to the pain, that's relative. What's painful to me may not be painful to the other person. And what's painful to that person might not be painful to me. Right? So you can't sit here and say, oh, this is painful. No one's telling you it's not painful. What we're telling you is other people didn't use that as an excuse. Everybody knows a successful person in this world that did not let excuses or it's too hard or the past cycle or whatever to keep them from reaching their goal, to achieve an success on the other side of that painful scenario or that problem. Okay, right? And then the last one, taking full responsibility hurts. Nobody said taking full responsibility is not going to come without some type of load, right? Call it a load, don't call it baggage. Because baggage makes it seem worse. It makes it seem heavier. It makes it seem like it's a lot, right? You can measure a load. Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take full responsibility for this one because even though it wasn't my fault, I'm choosing to end it here, right? And that person might look at you and it's going to make them feel even more small because you're choosing to end it. They can choose to continue to feel resentful, to find that reason to dislike you even more. So nobody said taking full responsibility is gonna be a great, easy, with no issues thing. It's gonna suck sometimes taking full responsibility because now your life, you're forced to look in the mirror and say, I don't like this extra skin that's hanging off of me. That's jiggly. But I'm gonna take full responsibility because I'm the reason that I'm here, right? Nobody forced me to eat what I've eaten all these years to get me to where I'm going. And I'm not exercising to work it off, or I'm not eating healthier to replace the bad stuff with more productive stuff. You're facing you in the mirror. So you're taking full responsibility and you say, you know what, enough is enough. Today, I'm my new self. I'm not going to keep on eating like that. I'm not going to keep on sleeping like that. I'm not going to keep on not reading books. I'm not going to keep on going around here thinking I know it all, knowing daggone well I don't even know 1 cent out of that 100%. Like, I got some stuff to do, right? So, 3 principles. Remember that the greatest common denominator is you. The way that you feel, the people you hang out with, the repetitive choices that you've chosen, the neighborhood you live in, that you talk about or hear people talk about other people on a daily basis because they don't have nothing else better to do. That job that you just over it, or you haven't been at a job at least 5 years. You keep whatever is on that repetitive cycle happening and you keep getting fired. Or this is not for you, so you quit and you move on, try something else. This is not for you, so you quit, move on, try something else. Like at some point, you gotta make a choice. If you trying to be your better self, you're looking towards being successful, it's time to become decisive. It's time to start making some decisions. All right, so anytime you're part of the problem, make sure you understand that you also can be a part of the solution. So real quick, run through the 3 principles. Stop the blame game. All right, number 1. Number 2, stop running from the problem. Stop running from the problem and face it. And number 3, take full responsibility. The day that you decide to take full responsibility is the day you change. Do you understand that? It's intelligent to implement change. Because if not, like last video, what have you learned? It's not intelligent to understand you're in the same situation, but you're reacting the exact same way. Well, that's insane. Because you're in the same thing, expecting something else, but you keep getting the same, right? So that's it. Do me a favor. If you got any value from this video, please hit the like button and comment down below what you got from this video. If any of the principles you already do and live by, comment that below. Great. Good. I appreciate you. Help show somebody else that it's worth it. All right? If you got value and you never heard this stuff before and you woke up from this video, comment down below whatever it was. All right? Sharing your experience helps someone else have a better experience. All right? And with that being said, what you waiting for? Let's get to work. Enough said.